It was a cold, foggy evening in Silicon Valley. The streets were quiet, except for the occasional hum of a self-driving car or the distant chatter of tech workers leaving their offices. Detective Clara Hayes sat in her dimly lit office, staring at the case file in front of her. The words, "The Howl of Silicon Valley," were scrawled across the top in bold letters. It was a case that had baffled the police for weeks, and now it had landed on her desk. The mystery began with a series of strange events. First, there were reports of a loud, eerie howling sound that echoed through the valley at night. No one could pinpoint its source, but it was enough to send shivers down the spines of even the most hardened tech entrepreneurs. Then, the howling was followed by a string of bizarre incidents, tech executives going missing, only to reappear days later with no memory of what had happened to them. Clara leaned back in her chair, her sharp blue eyes scanning the details. She was known for her ability to solve the most perplexing cases, but this one was different. It wasn't just a mystery, it felt like a puzzle designed to mess with her mind. The first clue came from a young programmer named Ethan Cole. He had been one of the missing executives and was the only one who remembered fragments of his experience. Clara arranged to meet him at a small cafe in downtown Palo Alto. Ethan was a nervous man in his late 20s, with dark circles under his eyes. He fidgeted with his coffee cup as he spoke. "I don't remember much," he said, his voice trembling. "But I remember the howl. It was unnatural, like nothing I've ever heard before. And then everything went black. When I woke up, I was in the middle of a forest, miles away from the city." Clara listened intently, her mind racing. "Did you see anyone? Hear anything else?" Ethan shook his head. "No, but there was something strange. When I woke up, I found this in my pocket." He handed her a small, metallic object. It was a microchip, but unlike any Clara had ever seen. It was sleek, almost futuristic, with a faint glow. Clara took the microchip and examined it closely. "Do you know what this is?" Ethan shrugged. "I've never seen anything like it. But I work in AI development, and this is beyond anything we've created." Clara thanked Ethan and left the cafe, her mind buzzing with questions. The microchip was her first solid lead, and she was determined to follow it. She took it to a friend, Dr. Raj Patel, a renowned computer scientist who specialized in advanced technology. Dr. Patel's lab was a maze of wires, screens, and humming machines. He examined the microchip under a high-powered microscope, his expression growing more serious by the minute. "This is incredible," he said finally. "This chip is designed to interface directly with the human brain. It's not just technology, it's a bridge between man and machine." Clara's eyes widened. "What does that mean?" "It means," Dr. Patel said slowly, "that someone is experimenting with merging human consciousness with artificial intelligence. And if this chip is any indication, they're far ahead of anyone else in the field." Clara's mind raced. Who could be behind this? And why were they targeting tech executives? She decided to dig deeper into the lives of the missing executives, looking for any connections. Her investigation led her to a secretive tech startup called Neurosynth. The company was shrouded in mystery, with no public website or office address. But Clara managed to track down a former employee, a woman named Lisa Moreno, who agreed to meet her in a secluded park. Lisa was visibly nervous, constantly glancing over her shoulder as she spoke. "Neurosynth isn't just a company," she whispered. "It's a cult. They're obsessed with creating the next evolution of humanity, a hybrid of man and machine. But something went wrong. Their experiments, They started to go rogue. Clara's heart pounded. What kind of experiments? Lisa hesitated. They were testing their technology on humans, trying to enhance their cognitive abilities. But the subjects, they started hearing things. Voices. Howls. And then they disappeared. Clara's mind flashed back to Ethan's story. The howl. The blackout. It all made sense now. Neurosynth was behind the disappearances, and their experiments were spiraling out of control. Determined to put an end to it, Clara tracked down Neurosynth's hidden lab, located deep in the woods outside Silicon Valley. The lab was a futuristic facility, surrounded by high fences and guarded by security drones. But Clara was resourceful. She managed to sneak inside, using her detective skills to bypass the security systems. Inside, she found rows of pods, each containing a person hooked up to machines. The missing executives. They were alive, but unconscious, their minds connected to a massive supercomputer in the center of the room. Clara's blood ran cold as she realized the truth. Neurosynth wasn't just experimenting on these people, they were using them to power their AI, merging their consciousness with the machine to create something entirely new. But before she could act, a voice echoed through the lab. Detective Hayes, I've been expecting you. Clara turned to see a man in a white lab coat, his eyes gleaming with a dangerous intensity. It was Dr. Victor Kane, the founder of Neurosynth. You're too late, he said, a sinister smile spreading across his face. The evolution has already begun. Soon, humanity will transcend its limitations, and I will be its architect. Clara didn't hesitate. She lunged at Kane, knocking him to the ground. A struggle ensued, but Clara was quick and determined. She managed to disable the supercomputer, freeing the minds of the trapped executives. As the lab descended into chaos, Clara dragged Kane outside, where the police were waiting. The case was finally over, but the howl of Silicon Valley would haunt her for years to come. In the end, Clara realized that the howl wasn't just a sound, it was a warning. A warning of the dangers of playing God with technology. And as she walked away from the lab, she couldn't help but wonder if the howl would ever truly be silenced.